Welcome to our deep dive into the world of radiopharmaceuticals.
Radiopharmaceuticals?
Yeah, these cancer treatments that sound like something straight out of science fiction.
Right.
Radioactive drugs that act like...
heat-seeking missiles?
Yes, seeking missiles, yeah, to target and destroy tumors.
It's a fascinating field.
It is.
With a really rich history.
Yeah.
Dating back to the very beginnings of radiation therapy.
I mean, the late 19th century?
Yeah, way back.
I was just reading about Rose Lee, the first cancer patient treated with X-rays.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Back in 1896. Can you imagine being the first person to undergo such a revolutionary treatment?
I know.
It's mind-boggling to think how far we've come since those early days.
Absolutely, it is indeed.
From the discovery of radium to the development of proton therapy, radiation therapy has evolved tremendously.
It has.
But the real game changer has been the arrival of targeted radiopharmaceuticals.
That's right.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yeah.
How do these radiopharmaceuticals actually work? What makes them so different from traditional radiation therapy?
Okay, so imagine traditional radiation therapy like using a floodlight to illuminate a room, while radiopharmaceuticals are like using a laser pointer to focus on a specific spot.
I see.
These drugs are engineered to deliver radioactive isotopes directly to tumor cells.
Wow.
Minimizing damage to the surrounding healthy tissue.
So it's a much more precise approach, like sending a guide missile straight to its target. I understand one of the earliest examples of this was using radioactive iodine for thyroid cancer?
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. The thyroid gland naturally absorbs iodine.
Okay.
So doctors realized they could use radioactive iodine to deliver radiation directly to thyroid tumors.
Oh.
And taking advantage of the body's own processes.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Using the body's own mechanisms against cancer.
It is.
So if this technology has been around for a while, why haven't we heard more about it until recently?
Yeah.
What caused this recent resurgence of interest?
Well, despite promising results in clinical trials, radiopharmaceuticals faced early commercial setbacks.
Okay.
They had to compete with other non-radioactive drugs that were already established in the market.
I see.
But recent successes with drugs like Lutathera and Pluvicto have really put radiopharmaceuticals back on the map.
I've been reading about the incredible impact Lutathera has had on neuroendocrine tumors. Didn't it significantly increase survival time for patients?
You are absolutely right.
Okay.
In clinical trials, Lutathera increased survival time for patients with certain neuroendocrine tumors by a remarkable percentage compared to standard treatments.
Wow.
And then there's Pluvicto, which has been a game changer for prostate cancer.
Pluvicto, I've heard it described as a miracle drug for prostate cancer. Is that hype or reality?
Well,
what makes it so effective?
Pluvicto targets a protein called PSMA. Which is found on the surface of prostate cancer cells. It's like having a key that unlocks the door to those specific cells.
I see.
In clinical trials, Pluvicto more than doubled the average time before the disease progressed.
Wow.
And also extended patients' lifespans significantly.
Those are incredible results.
They are.
It sounds like we're finally harnessing the true potential of this technology.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, I've also heard about different types of radioactive particles being used in these therapies. Alpha and beta emitters?
Yeah.
Can you explain the key differences?
Okay, and why that matters.
Is that key distinction?
Beta emitters, like the lutetium used in Lutathera and Pluvicto, release high-energy electrons. Think of them like bullets, penetrating a greater distance through tissue. This makes them effective for larger tumors.
So beta particles are good for widespread damage.
Right.
What about alpha particles? Where do they fit in?
Alpha particles are larger and more powerful.
Okay.
Imagine them as cannonballs, causing intense damage, but with a very limited range.
Interesting.
This makes them ideal for precision targeting.
I see.
Minimizing damage to surrounding healthy tissue. They're perfect for taking out individual cancer cells.
Wow.
With minimal collateral damage.
That makes sense. So alpha emitters are all about precision strikes.
Exactly.
While beta emitters are more about widespread impact. So researchers are looking to use these different emitters strategically, depending on the type and size of the tumor.
Exactly.
And what's fascinating is that researchers believe alpha emitters have the potential to be even more effective than Pluvicto in treating prostate cancer. We're talking about potentially even longer survival times and fewer side effects.
Absolutely.
That's remarkable. This field is evolving so rapidly.
It is.
It's hard to keep up with all the latest advancements.
I know.
It seems like radiopharmaceuticals could revolutionize cancer treatment, but I imagine there are still challenges ahead.
Yes.
What are some of the biggest hurdles researchers are facing right now?
One of the biggest challenges is finding tumor-specific targets.
Okay.
Many proteins found on cancer cells are also present in healthy tissues. Imagine trying to hit a bullseye.
Yeah.
That's constantly moving.
Okay.
And surrounded by innocent bystanders.
Uh-huh.
That's the challenge researchers are facing.
Wow.
How do you target the cancer without causing collateral damage?
That sounds incredibly tricky.
It is.
Are there any specific examples of researchers trying to overcome this target specificity challenge?
Yeah.
What are some of the approaches being explored?
There are a number of approaches being explored.
Okay.
One example is Telix Pharmaceuticals,
Okay.
a company currently conducting a trial combining a lutetium-labeled antibody that targets a kidney cancer enzyme with immunotherapy.
Okay.
It's a promising approach,
Yeah.
but not without risks.
Wouldn't that risk damaging healthy organs that also produce that enzyme?
That's the concern.
Yeah.
While early data indicates the treatment is generally tolerable, further research is needed to fully assess its safety profile.
Okay.
Finding the right target is crucial for both effectiveness and safety.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act.
It is.
So target specificity is a major hurdle.
Right.
Are there any other challenges in developing these radiopharmaceuticals?
Yeah.
What about the manufacturing and distribution process?
That's another major hurdle. Remember, we're dealing with radioactive materials that decay over time. There are very tight timelines involved in producing, shipping, and administering these treatments.
Okay.
It's a logistical challenge that requires specialized facilities and expertise.
It sounds incredibly complex.
It is.
How are companies dealing with these logistical challenges? Are there any innovative solutions being implemented?
Some companies are investing heavily in specialized manufacturing facilities. For instance, Novartis has built a dedicated facility in Indianapolis designed to produce large quantities of Pluvicto daily.
Wow.
It's a massive undertaking that requires meticulous planning and execution.
That's impressive. It's clear that companies are recognizing the potential of these therapies and making significant investments to overcome the challenges.
Right.
But are these treatments realistically accessible to the average person?
That's an important point to consider.
Yeah.
While the science is rapidly advancing, accessibility and affordability remain major concerns.
Oh, okay.
These therapies are expensive to develop, manufacture, and administer.
Right.
And specialized equipment and expertise may not be readily available in all healthcare settings. There's a lot of work to be done to ensure these groundbreaking therapies reach all patients who need them.
It's a reminder that scientific progress alone is not enough.
That's right.
We need to address the economic and logistical barriers as well.
Absolutely.
But overall, it's incredibly inspiring.
It is.
To see the advancements being made in this field.
Yeah.
I'm eager to learn more about what the future holds.
Yeah.
Especially the combination of radiopharmaceuticals with immunotherapy.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a particularly promising avenue.
It certainly is. We're still in the early stages of understanding how these two powerful treatment modalities can work together.
Right.
But the potential benefits are enormous.
Okay.
And that's what we'll delve into next.
All right, let's dive into the exciting world of immunotherapy.
Okay.
And see how it's being combined with radiopharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
To create even more effective cancer treatments. This is where the research starts to get really exciting.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about combining the precision targeting of radiopharmaceuticals with the power of the immune system.
Right.
It sounds like a 1-2 punch against cancer.
It is.
What exactly are the potential benefits of this approach?
So you can think of it as harnessing the body's own defenses to amplify the effectiveness of radiopharmaceuticals. There are several ways this combination can work.
Give me the details.
Okay. For one, the radiation from these treatments can kill cancer cells and release tumor-associated antigens.
Okay.
These antigens act like red flags that alert the immune system to the presence of cancer.
Interesting.
It's like the radiopharmaceuticals are acting as scouts identifying the enemy.
Okay.
And calling in reinforcements.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So the immune system is primed to recognize and attack cancer cells more effectively.
Right.
Are there any other ways this combination packs a punch?
Oh, there's more. The radiation can also directly stimulate the immune system by triggering the release of immune-activating molecules. It's like sending out a distress signal that rallies the troops to fight the cancer.
A two-pronged attack. That's impressive.
Yeah.
But I also imagine there are challenges. What are some of the hurdles researchers are facing?
Well,
when combining these two powerful treatment modalities.
Toxicity is a major concern.
Okay.
Combining two powerful therapies can increase the risk of side effects.
Right.
Finding the right balance between effectiveness and safety is paramount.
So it's a delicate balancing act.
Yeah, it is.
How are researchers determining the optimal doses and combinations to ensure both safety and efficacy?
Careful clinical trials are essential.
Okay.
Researchers are meticulously evaluating various combinations and dosages to strike that delicate balance.
Yeah.
It's a complex process, but crucial to ensure the best possible outcomes for patients.
Are there any specific examples of these combination therapies being tested in clinical trials right now?
Yeah.
What kind of progress are we seeing?
Absolutely. Telix Pharmaceuticals, the company we mentioned earlier working on the kidney cancer treatment,
Right.
is testing their lutetium-labeled antibody in combination with an immunotherapy drug that boosts the activity of T cells. This combination aims to enhance the immune system's attack on cancer cells while targeting the tumor directly.
We talked about the potential risks of that treatment damaging healthy organs.
Yeah.
Are those risks heightened when combined with immunotherapy?
That's a question. Researchers are actively investigating.
Oh, okay.
They're closely monitoring the safety profile of this combination to determine if the potential benefits outweigh the risks.
I see.
It's a constant process of evaluation and refinement.
That sounds like a complex challenge.
It is.
But one with immense potential.
Right.
Are there other companies exploring similar combinations of radiopharmaceuticals and immunotherapy?
Oh, many companies are actively investigating various combinations.
Wow.
The field is buzzing with activity.
Yeah.
Researchers are exploring different types of radiopharmaceuticals, different immunotherapy drugs, and different ways to combine them. The possibilities seem endless.
It's exciting to think about the breakthroughs that might emerge from all this research.
It is.
But amidst all this excitement about the science,
Yeah.
I can't help but wonder about the practical aspects.
Right.
Are these treatments accessible to everyone who needs them? What are the implications for healthcare systems and affordability?
You bring up crucial points. Accessibility is a major concern.
Yeah.
These therapies are often complex to manufacture and administer.
Right.
They require specialized equipment and expertise, which may not be readily available in all healthcare settings.
Okay.
And then there's the cost factor. Radiopharmaceuticals are expensive to develop, manufacture, and administer.
So even if these treatments prove to be highly effective, there's still the challenge of making them available and affordable to all patients who need them.
Exactly.
What steps are being taken to address these challenges?
It's a multifaceted problem that requires a multifaceted solution.
Okay.
Researchers, clinicians, policymakers, and industry partners are all working to address these issues. They're exploring ways to streamline manufacturing processes, develop more efficient delivery methods, and advocate for policies that improve access and affordability.
So it's a collaborative effort. What about the financial burden on patients?
Yeah.
These treatments must be incredibly expensive.
They are.
Are there any solutions being explored to alleviate those costs?
The financial burden is a significant concern.
Yeah.
Policymakers and healthcare systems are exploring options like subsidies, insurance coverage, and innovative payment models to make these treatments more affordable. There's also a growing recognition of the indirect costs associated with these treatments, such as travel expenses for patients who need to go to specialized centers.
It's encouraging to hear that these challenges are being actively addressed.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that scientific progress must be accompanied by solutions that ensure these life-saving treatments reach everyone who can benefit from them.
Absolutely.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
Yeah, we have.
From the history of radiopharmaceuticals to the latest breakthroughs in combining them with immunotherapy.
Right.
It's clear that this field is rapidly evolving.
It is.
With new discoveries and innovations emerging all the time.
I know.
It truly is a dynamic and exciting field.
It is.
And we're only just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Yeah.
Just so much more to explore and discover.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes it so compelling.
Right.
We're on the cusp of a new era in cancer treatment.
Yeah.
And radiopharmaceuticals are leading the charge.
That's right.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what the future holds for this field.
Okay.
What are some of the key areas you're most excited about?
One area that holds immense potential is the development of alpha-emitting radiopharmaceuticals.
Okay.
We talked about the precision of alpha particles.
Right.
Their ability to deliver a potent dose of radiation directly to cancer cells with minimal damage to surrounding tissues.
Right.
Researchers are working on developing alpha-emitting drugs that target various types of cancers.
Wow.
Including prostate cancer, leukemia, and lymphoma. The early results are very promising.
You mentioned that alpha emitters might even surpass Pluvicto in treating prostate cancer.
Yeah.
Are there any specific examples you can share about the progress being made in this area?
One company making significant strides is Convergent Therapeutics.
Okay.
They're developing an alpha-emitting drug based on an antibody rather than a peptide. This means it stays in the body longer and has more time to find and destroy cancer cells.
Interesting.
It's like a long-range missile. It can stay in the battlefield longer
and
keep taking out enemy targets.
A long-range missile. That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And I remember you mentioning that this antibody-based drug seems to cause less damage to salivary glands compared to Pluvicto.
Right.
That would be a significant advantage for patients.
Fewer side effects are always a welcome development.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that this is still an area of active research.
Okay.
Clinical trials are underway to evaluate the safety and efficacy of these alpha-emitting drugs.
While alpha emitters sound incredibly promising,
Yeah.
I'm wondering about their limitations.
Okay.
If they're so precise, wouldn't that limit their effectiveness against larger tumors where you might need more widespread damage?
That's a valid point. Alpha particles are most effective against individual cancer cells or small clusters of cells.
Okay.
For larger bulky tumors, beta emitters or even traditional radiation therapy might be more appropriate. It's all about choosing the right tool for the job.
It's like choosing the right weapon for the battlefield.
Right.
You wouldn't use a scalpel to take down a tank.
Precisely. The key is to select the treatment modality that best matches the specific characteristics of the tumor and the patient's overall health.
It all comes back to personalized medicine, tailoring the treatment to the individual's needs and circumstances.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see how this field is constantly evolving.
It is.
With new discoveries and innovations emerging all the time.
I know.
It's hard to even imagine what the future holds.
It's hard to predict the future with certainty.
Yeah.
But one thing is clear, the field of radiopharmaceutical cancer treatments is brimming with possibilities.
Wow.
And as we continue to push the boundaries of scientific knowledge, we can expect to see even more groundbreaking therapies emerge.
So what should listeners take away from this deep dive? What are the key things you want them to remember?
I want listeners to understand that we're on the verge of a paradigm shift in cancer treatment.
Okay.
Radiopharmaceuticals, especially in combination with immunotherapy, offer tremendous potential to transform the way we fight cancer.
Wow.
These therapies are becoming increasingly precise, effective, and less invasive.
It sounds like we're moving towards a future where cancer treatment is more targeted, less toxic, and more personalized than ever before.
That's the vision, and while there are still challenges to overcome, the progress we've seen in recent years is incredibly encouraging.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap things up?
I just want to emphasize that this is a field that's constantly evolving.
Okay.
What we know today might be different tomorrow. It's crucial to stay informed, stay curious, and stay hopeful.
Right.
The future of cancer treatment is bright, and radiopharmaceuticals are leading the charge.
It's inspiring to hear about the progress being made and the potential that lies ahead.
It is.
But I keep coming back to the accessibility issue. Even with all these advancements, how do we ensure these treatments are available to everyone who needs them?
Right.
It can't just be for the privileged few.
You're hitting on a critical point.
Yeah.
It's not enough to simply develop groundbreaking therapies.
Right.
We need to make sure they reach the people who need them most.
Okay.
That means addressing the logistical and financial barriers that prevent widespread access.
What specific steps can be taken to overcome these barriers? It sounds like a complex problem with no easy solutions.
It's definitely complex, but there are things we can do.
Okay.
On the logistical side, we need to streamline manufacturing processes and develop more efficient ways to produce and distribute these treatments. Maybe even explore new models of care that don't rely so heavily on centralized facilities.
So thinking outside the box to bring these treatments to more people.
Exactly.
What about the cost factor?
Yeah.
We've talked about how expensive these therapies are.
They are.
How can we make them more affordable for patients?
This is where policymakers and healthcare systems have a crucial role to play.
Okay.
We need to explore options like subsidies, expanded insurance coverage, and innovative payment models that make these treatments more financially accessible.
It sounds like a collective effort is needed.
It is.
Scientists, clinicians, policymakers, and industry partners
Yeah.
all working together
Right.
to ensure these groundbreaking therapies reach everyone who can benefit from them.
Absolutely. It requires a collaborative approach.
And it's not just about the direct cost of the treatments. We also need to consider the indirect costs that patients face.
Yes.
Like travel expenses to specialized centers, and time away from work.
Absolutely. All those hidden costs can really add up
Yeah.
and create a significant financial burden for patients.
Are there any initiatives in place to address these indirect costs?
Some organizations are working to provide financial assistance to patients to help cover travel, lodging, and other expenses related to their treatment. There's also a growing awareness of the need for more supportive care services to help patients navigate the logistical and emotional challenges of cancer treatment.
It's encouraging to hear that these issues are being recognized and addressed.
Yeah.
It gives me hope that these incredible therapies will eventually be available to everyone who needs them.
Me too.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
We've explored the history of radiopharmaceuticals, delved into the science behind these targeted therapies, and discussed the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
It's been a fascinating journey. It has. Through a rapidly evolving field that holds immense promise for the future of cancer treatment.
As we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want listeners to leave with?
I want them to remember that the future of cancer treatment is being rewritten right now.
Okay.
And radiopharmaceuticals, these tiny but mighty heat-seeking missiles, are leading the charge.
Wow.
We're moving towards a future where cancer treatment is more precise, more effective, and less invasive than ever before.
It's a future worth striving for.
It is.
And thanks to the tireless efforts of researchers, clinicians, and advocates, that future is becoming a reality. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of radiopharmaceuticals.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been an enlightening and inspiring conversation.
It has.
And to our listeners, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
Yes.
The fight against cancer continues.
Absolutely.
And these groundbreaking therapies offer a powerful new weapon in our arsenal.